It is not easy to start conversations with those people that we do not know. And we found that art is kind of a neutral vehicle that places people in a very positive mindset.
So it's always been like an idea, maybe we can use this as some kind of a ministry.
Art provides a method for people to be able to relax, focus on something, and when that happens, they're able to converse more, really put down their guard, and they're creating something.
So we found that art is a very good vehicle to do what Ellen G. White says, which is mingling with people. God called me and my wife back to the state of Illinois, to the city of Chicago, back in 2012 after we finished with our Masters of Divinity. There had not been a church planting project in the city for about 25 years. So that was the idea, and church in the urban context, to do mission, to re-engage with former younger Seventh-day Adventists, and to disciple non-Seventh-day Adventists.
We are one church in two locations. One church located in the city of Chicago, and another church in suburban area near to Chicago.
And Jesus was one that was a man of intentionality and also, but of also relationships. If we want our lives to be more like him, we have to follow his example.
So after my first visit at Epic, I received a postcard in the mail from one of the staff members at Epic with just saying, "Hey Hector, thank you for coming. It was great to see you. Is there anything I can do? Can I pray for you?" And it also had a Starbucks $5 gift card, which is not much, but it showed a great sense of initiative.
I think the easiest way to make those connections is by just simply say hi. I think we are so afraid to use that word because we don't want to mess with other people's life, or we don't want to be intrusive. Every person is in their own bubble, right? So maybe you are that little spike that is going to break that bubble with a simple hi.
We don't require a program in order to execute that vision. Instead, we require a relational lifestyle. It is not easy to start conversations with those people that we do not know.
Art provides a method for people to be able to relax, focus on something, and when that happens, they're able to converse more, really put down their guard, and they're creating something.
William and Candy Jameson, they're members of our church in Chicago, and they shared the idea of doing art as a medium of outreach.
My wife and I, we had our own business very similar to what we do at the Art House here. And so it's always been like an idea, maybe we can use this as some kind of a ministry. And then worlds collided when we met Pastor Andreas, who also had a similar vision as well.
When we decided to launch that location, we knew we had to do something to introduce ourselves to the community. And that's when we teamed up with Yorktown Mall to do a 1-month art space here at the mall.
It was an open house. It was basically a Saturday night event that we did. We rented a space in the city and we brought various art activities, and people were extremely excited. A lot of people who are not from our community came and they were very happy to engage. It was a huge success. And then we asked the question, what if that, instead of being an event, is something that we do as part of our church? We transfer the idea of the art space, the event, the art space, into kind of a permanent weekly outreach here in the Yorktown Mall in Chicago, in Lombard.
We don't hide the fact that through our church we do this community service. And during the time when Art Space is going, there's also music, practicing, so there's that curiosity, and so people go there.
When families come to create something, they experience unity, harmony, they feel happy, they feel connected, and they're more prone to talk to you about their lives, to open up about their problems. So we found that art is a very good vehicle to do what Ellen G. White says, which is mingling with people.
I am one of the volunteers at the Epic Art House. I love coming. I love doing pottery I brought my best friend, who she had a beautiful time being able to create. And I always mention to friends who come, I tell them it's not just therapeutic for our minds, our soul, it's therapeutic as a whole. And I think that people benefit that, especially now.
The neighborhood we live in, or that we operate in, is very secular. And so if we were just to say this is a church, it would frighten a lot of people away. We do some drawing and some painting classes, but we also do some pottery classes as well. We do children's classes and adult classes. We do some after-school programs. People have come in and taken classes, and sometimes they've been taking classes for months at a time. And then they ask the question, I heard there was a church here. And that's when those opportunities to engage in those discussions happen. It's easy to invite people in to the church and to the worship space because we're having art there. Well, why don't you just come back on Saturday and you can see for yourself what it is. It's not threatening. To have a church service here, it almost seems natural because they're already familiar with this space.
The impact was definitely growing prior to the pandemic. We used to have families from the community that will remain here in the worship service. We used to have not only Christian families, but even some Muslim families. We just finished a free spring break camp. We had over 20 families attending, 100% of which are not Seventh-day Adventist families.
We're just using the medium of art to do that, but you can do that in many different forms.
Perhaps there's someone in their church who is an auto mechanic and they have the space to do auto maintenance, or maybe a hair salon or a daycare, or whatever. Dig deep, find something, find an opportunity where people can come into the space, you can build relationships, and so there's a trust that's built there. And then the opportunity comes for these religious questions or these spiritual conversations.
And that being the salt of the earth and the light of the world means that God has already placed in them somewhere where they can influence someone.
I think the gist of it is find something that your community needs and run with it. Your church is probably filled with so many people that have so many talents. All they have to do is offer those talents up, and it can be a blessing to many in the community.